Hello, everyone. This is Tanya. I know you can't see my face. I'm really sorry. This is Tanya from Riley and Company, and we are here to do this awesome make and take. Just to let you know, there are let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, almost 15 pieces to this card. So there's quite a bit to it. And what I did is I colored some of it ahead of time, but I'm going to walk through with you how I did that. And then I'm going to color some of it with you. So to begin with, I want you to take out your base piece and your eyeball piece. And what I have done, and what I usually do on my Halloween cards, is I use some kind of black ink. This time I'm going to use Distress ink. And we are just going to lightly edge this paper with black ink. And while I do this, I'm going to tell you that you need a pair of scissors. And you need some foam tape, pop-up tape to go with this. And you need some kind of adhesive, but I am going to use my favorite, which is Zip Dry. And for those of you that know me know I love Zip Dry. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, if you have the Zip Dry, you are simply going to just put it around the outside edge. Like that. Okay, and the thing about this is Zip Dry is like rubber cement. Okay, but it's in a bottle and it's more liquid, so all you need it for is the outside. So when you put it on, and oh, do you see my mistake? I put my eyeballs on upside down so it looks like bats instead of eyeballs. With Zip Dry, if you use a tape runner with this, you'd be kind of in a bad spot right now. With Zip Dry, all you do is pull it up, turn it around, and sit it right back down. And it lets you move your paper to where you can get a nice, perfect edge every single time. And this girl likes her perfect edges every single time. If it gets out where you don't want it along the edges, all you do is rub it off, because it's like rubber cement. It just rubs right off. And there we have it. Great place to start, right? Okay, so we are going to set this aside for now, and we're going to color our pieces. Now I'm going to walk through with you just a little bit about what I did. Now on your Riley piece, I like to use Copics when I do my coloring. I like to use alcohol markers. I'm really not specifically Copics all the time, but I use them a lot because that's what I had when I had my store. So to do Riley, you have E33, and I just basically colored him all in, and then E47 for his antlers. Now, to create a shadow, people always tell you that you need additional colors to create your shadows with alcohol inks, and that is not necessarily true. You can get a fun shadow just by going around it again. And I always like to color, if you've got a piece that's already cut out, I always like to go around the edge just to get rid of the whites. All right, but you can create your shadows just by hitting it again, and it will blend into itself. So that creates shadows. Just a little tip for you. Okay, behind his ears is always going to be a little bit darker than the tips, right? So we'll just add a little bit to that. All right, so that's how I did Riley, and we'll set him aside. And next I have Riley as a vampire, which I think this is just cute as all get out. And instead of making him originally that dark, I made him lighter. Why? Because he's a vampire, right? And then I used a gray for his coat. All right, a dark gray. And I used a red underneath. And then the dark brown that I used, the E47 that I used for his antlers, I just came back in and went a little bit over the red again. And the brown just kind of added to it. and it just gives it a shadow, right? Easy. You don't need a lot of colors to make really amazing cards. If you're a junkie like me and you like to collect markers and pencils, you have a lot, but you don't have to. You don't have to. So the next piece we're going to pull out is the mummy. Okay. The mummy, I just used my E33 or E35 and just colored in pieces parts so it looks like there's tissue wrapped around him. And if you look at your photograph, you can see exactly where to color those in. And I then went back with the same antler colors as before and colored it in. Okay. That is your mummy. Now, everybody knows how to do a pumpkin. Easy peasy, right? Orange, green, yellow. But again, I'm going to go back and just pick a yellow. I never color by name of the color or the numeric number of a color. I just color by whether I like it or not. So I did yellow on the background, and I wanted to show you this is the same yellow I used before, but if I come in a second time and just do back in those areas, it gives it a fun little shadow. Perfect. So now we're done with that. Okay, so the next thing you have is your shirt. All right, and your mask. Now on the mask and on the pumpkin, the pieces that you have are not cut out. All I did was take an X-Acto knife and just cut them out. Okay, I would love to tell you that we cut all 15 pieces for 400 cards by hand, but we didn't. We used a scan and cut, so the pieces are there for the eyes. If you have the dies to this set, those will cut out. But as of now, just use a little X-Acto knife and cut around it. I came back with my black ink, and this is why my hands are so dirty. I've been playing today. And I just added a little black, gets rid of the whites. And then on the eyes, same thing, or on the mask for the eyes for the mask. Same thing. And it just covers up that white. I do the same thing on the shirt because it makes it look spooky, right? Can't be in a Halloween scene with a perfectly white shirt. Okay? So that's all there is to that. Next up, we have the moon, okay? The half moon. And we don't want it to be nice and bright and happy. We want it to look spooky, like there's clouds. Do that with your black ink too. Okay, so now that is done. And finally, I need to get a little bit more ink, guys. Ladies, girls, your grass. We don't want bright, happy, pretty, sunshiny, Easter-colored grass. We want scary, spooky in the middle of a cornfield grass, right? So all I'm going to do is take my black again and just go over all the edges. You'll notice that my nails and my hands are really filthy, and it's because that's just how I roll when I make cards. All right, so there's my first piece of grass. That's all nice and different. You don't have to add a lot. Be light-handed with this because you don't want black grass, obviously. If you have any little pieces that are still in there, just use a little pokey tool, whatever you have, to poke them out. These we did cut by hand. Each kit has 2. We cut 800 pieces of grass. Took me a couple days. And there you go. See, so the grass is done now. Now, moving along, I am going to show you guys how I colored. This is why I pre-colored, so that I could actually show you how to do some fun stuff like wood and the corn stalks that are up on this card. I noticed on this piece that my scan and cut didn't quite get that. So I'm just going to go in and cut it out. Cut it off. No big deal. Okay, so now I have my corn stalks and my wood. Now, they both use browns, and I use a yellow on my corn stalk as a base. And I'll explain in a minute. So I just grabbed some browns that I had. Now I'm grabbing cool colored browns. And I'm grabbing warm browns. And I just realized on here that I don't have an extra Frankenstein to color for you guys. Oops. Okay, and I have no idea where it went. That's kind of sad. But regardless, I'm going to hold this up here and show you how I colored him. I used a green because Frank is green, right? And I used a light brown for his shirts and a darker brown for his pants. And his skin is a darker green, of course, because it's shadowed. And it's not a happy-go-lucky green. It's a yellow green. It's a darker yellow green. Black for the bottom of his shoes. And gray. And then don't forget to color in the gray for his bolts. Okay? And black for his hair. Super simple. Apparently, the card I'm going to make for you isn't going to have him on it. Because, oopsie, I forgot. It will once we're done, but it doesn't now. So let's go back to our two pieces that are not colored, and we're going to color those. So in a corn stalk, there are tons of different colors. All right, they're not just brown. So what I'm going to do, we're not going to color the pumpkin because the jack-o'-lantern is going to cover it up. Okay, so we're not going to do that. But what I do just in the center, I just bring in just a couple, just squiggly marks like that. It is really super easy. Then I'm going to come in with a lighter color brown. And you can use the same brown you use on Riley if you want. And I'm just going to bring, this is my base brown. Okay. And I'm just going to pretty much color everything. And if you notice, I go completely off the stamped image. And that's what I like about Copic markers, because it'll blend right into that yellow that I already had. All right, so there's my base brown with a little hint of yellow underneath it. And I'm going to make this sign the same base brown. Okay, so this is where we are now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little darker brown, whatever color you like. I went E35 on this one. And I'm going to come back in where the corn stalks are underneath. So you kind of have to figure out, now that would have a shadow on it. And that would have a shadow, right? This would have a shadow underneath there. I'm not going to color the whole thing. This would have a shadow. That would have a little shadow. Okay? And see how easy that is? They're all going to have that shadow underneath the band right there. And if you use alcohol markers, this is the fun of alcohol markers, you can just flick it down like that and it blends into everything. I'm also going to come back with the same darker brown and I'm going to go around the edges, and these lines kind of show you where you need to be. So I'm just going to flick it in that way and flick it that way. Okay? And I might just take that darker brown on the stick, but don't worry, it's not going to look like that when we're done. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to take even a darker brown, and it can be the same thing as the antlers that you used for Riley. There's really no right or wrong. And I'm going to come back in here and do the exact same thing again, but not go all the way. Okay. And now it's starting to show up a little bit, isn't it? Yep. Now we're starting to get the different colors. All right. Same thing, only I'm just going to follow these little lines here, okay? Turn around, follow these little lines. All right, and there would be a shadow right under there, wouldn't there? And a little one right there. Okay, this is how you create shadows within your projects. So, I like this as it is, and I might want to stop. However, I really don't. And so I'm going to, those were cooler color browns. Now I'm going to take, or warmer. I could be confused. But anyway, I'm going to take a different shade of brown this time. One that's got more of a gray in it. And I'm going to come back and just add a little bit more. Okay. And just a little bit more down on that yellow. This time, I'm going to come in just around the edges And I'm going to bring it up because the alcohol is all going to blend together anyway, okay? And there you have it. And finally, I'm going to take a little bit of gray and I'm going to come down on the sides because it's nighttime. All right? So everything's going to be kind of a shade of gray at night. Do you see how our first original color is still there? You can just barely see it, right? The gray is really awesome in wood because there's always a tinge of gray in the wood. So now we're good. And we have these done. I'm happy with them. And we are going to start assembling our card. So we're going to go back to our base that we have here. Okay, there's a couple pieces that we're going to put on first. And then we're going to put the grass on. And then there's a couple pieces that we will put on last. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the cornstalk. And we're going to take our little vampire guy. And I think I might add a little black around his head too. And his, you know, you just can't get too much black on a Halloween card. So I'm going to tuck him in behind here, but I'm going to bring him in front of the cornstalk. Okay. So it kind of has a little 3D effect. I'm just going to hold it and flip it up and just put a little bit of my yummy zip dry right there. And it's going to hold him. Then I'm going to turn the whole entire thing over and zip dry it or glue it. Regardless of what you have, you can use it. And I'm just going to sit it right here along the edge. This is going to be our furthest image over to your left. All right. And now we're going to put the grass on. What I want you to do, I don't want you to glue every single blade. We're just going to put a very thin line across the bottom of the grass. Okay. And we're just going to glue it and go all the way down to the edge of the card, okay? All the way down. And yep, that's going to hang out. That's okay. No problemo. And then you're going to take your next piece and you are going to lay it right on top of where the other grass line was. Okay, and you're going to just kind of match them up. All right, you don't have to match them up if you don't want to. You can just set it just like this too. No one will ever know. But on this one, because you don't know how long it is, I'm just going to take that line, that little bead of glue, and just put it along the bottom of this card. And just lay that right on there. This is one of my favorite dies from Burniston.com. And it's a grass die. And I have inside knowledge that there might be a slimline grass die coming out soon. Oh, did I say that out loud? Anyway, so now we have this. We're just going to turn it over and we're just going to cut it off. So there you have it. We're going to come along this bottom and just trim that off too. Okay. And there's our start. Now you notice that I had you leave the glue off the blades of grass on purpose, right? It's because I like to flick them out. It makes it look more 3D, I guess. So with that, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our little mummy, okay? And we're going to get him, he's going to be behind the Frankenstein and Riley. So we're going to put him in first. And he's going to sit in there, but I like to just stick some of the little toilet paper out. See how cute that is? Just stuck out like that. I'm just going to flip him over and put some glue on him. And I also never glue down the antlers because if you don't, look what you can do. Okay. It just makes it look a little more, I don't know what the word is I'm trying to find, but it makes it look a little more fluid, I guess, instead of so static and glued down so harshly. Now, if I had one, okay, Actually, I'm just going to take it off this card. Is that horrible or what? But I am. So what we're going to do, uh-oh, I about cut his foot off, is with your Frankenstein that you have, uh-oh, down foot, down foot. Never mind, I can fix it. So you're going to put foam tape on here, okay? And once you have the foam tape, he is going to go in the front towards the furthest edge. And we're just going to sit him on there. And yes, he will overlap, okay? That's no problem. And since I have an extra foot, I am just going to tuck it up in underneath there. Put a little bit of glue. Here's a little fix for you. If you ever tear your stuff, you'll know how to do it. And again, this glue is perfect for this because it'll get out. And all you do is hold it down and it'll make a really nice seal. And then you just wipe off the excess, okay? Look, never even knew. And of course, it's Frank, so. Now, moving along, we are going to put some foam tape on our jack-o'-lantern, and he is going to go right here. And I love that these videos are pre-recorded, so you can just hit pause. If you get behind, you can just hit pause. And of course, this is your card, so if you want to mix and mash it up a little bit, it's your card, do it. But make sure you come on our Facebook page and show me what you did with it, okay? We have a Riley fan page where you can post your own pictures. And I hope you guys bring these to that fan page and show me. So now we have that all done. The next thing, we are going to take our sign and we are going to write on it, free candy. All right, with just a thin line black marker, pen, whatever you have. And I just hand wrote that on there in all caps. And you don't want it to be too perfect either, okay? Free candy. Because that gets them every time, free candy. Okay, so we are also going to pop this up with our foam tape, okay? And we're just gonna put it somewhere close, okay? Just like that. And finally, we're gonna save our moon till the end, but we are going to work on Riley now. And I'm gonna sound horribly barbaric, and I apologize ahead of time. However, we're gonna cut his head off. I mean, this is a Spooktacular make and take, right? So we're just gonna cut his head off, but don't worry, it doesn't hurt him a bit. I do this almost every time I use Riley because I like to move his head around and it pops it up and it makes his clothes look awesome. So this Halloween set, of course, is from his dress-up set. He's got 28 dress-up sets, I think. So this is his trick-or-treat dress-up set. And I'm just gonna put this on here. All right. Just like that. And see it squeezed out the edge? It's okay, I'm just gonna rub it off. I hope you guys can see that. It's really incredible. Love this stuff. Then to hook the jack-o'-lantern in, we are just gonna make a nice little slit all the way up to his arm. Okay, and we're just going to tuck this in, just like this. And I'm gonna swing it around to the side. And if you have a hard time doing that, I kind of cheated a little bit and made another little inverted cut. So you tuck it in there like that. And so it doesn't move on me, I just put a little bit of glue right behind here. And I hold it down. You can also pop it up if you want with foam tape. All right, so we have that. And so we're just gonna glue him down. Now, I don't want him to look like he's behind or in front. So remember that piece of grass that we did earlier? We are just going to cover up where we met the two pieces of grass. Put a little glue on it. Everybody is going to be asking me where I got this eyeball paper. I absolutely love it. I bought tons of it because I love it so much. And it is by Echo Park. All right, now all we have left is these are our 3 pieces left. We are going to put his little mask on his cute little face. Is that adorable? And there you have it. Okay. And we're going to pop his head up. We're not going to glue it down. We're going to give even Riley a little bit of dimension. And my tape is just a tiny bit too long. We're going to, and see, you could just put him like that, but he's looking at this free candy going, so we're going to tilt his head a little bit. And the last thing to do is to attach your half moon. Okay? And the reason I saved it for last is so that I could just kind of center it on the page. And there you go. It's a spooktacular card. Thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you hang with me for my next 30 minutes. I will show you all the wonderful things that we have for Halloween. It's my favorite holiday, by the way. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me.